on leadership versus management. Let me share my screen before I start. There we go. Okay, I need to get the sharing access. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Not yet. 1 minute. Yeah,
Yes.
now.
All right. So this is the topic which is close to my heart, primarily leading the team for more than 2 decades. It gives me immense pleasure to talk about this topic, which is leadership versus management. I'll start with a quote. It says, management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. This is by Peter Drucker. So today I'm going to share my thoughts on how the things have evolved and what is more important when you put on the hat of a manager and move towards a leadership role. So some of the thoughts are from my experience as a leader. And I would like to start with a basic distinction, right? So what's the basic difference between managers and the leaders? Primarily, managers have their tasks cut out. They plan their work, primarily allocate resource, focus on controlling the risk, milestone tracking, and measuring the output. So for a manager who has a mindset of a manager, right? I call it mindset because every manager has the potential to become a leader. So success is execution against the plan for a manager. But for a leader to look right, it's creating the purpose. It's building the ownership, develop the judgment. Primarily is focused on enabling the team. For a leader, success is outcomes plus strong people. Because what I've seen is people emulate or they look at how the leader is, right? He can be wearing a hat of a manager, but a leader, a person wearing the hat of a leader does things differently. Primarily both are necessary, but the difference is where the energy lies. And from the lessons that I've learned, right, from controlling execution to enabling outcomes. So the earlier instinct as a manager is getting to the details, be the escalation point, solve quickly and drive follow-ups. A mind shift, a leadership shift is set the clear outcomes. It's more on the trust, right? When you're working with the people, it's more how you trust their capability and then enable them by coaching and creating the visibility. What I've seen as a result of this mind shift change is a faster decision, more ownership, and there has been a less dependency. A personal experience leading a distributed teams taught me that empowerment is not losing the control. It's creating a scalable control, enabling the scalability through clarity and trust. So what's the basic difference when it comes to get the works done, right? A manager looks at the things and thinks that task delegation, right? For example, he says, I need to complete this task by Monday, Tuesday, whatever, right? He defines the activity. He says, or he gives the direction to say that I'm the decision maker and you need to report to me and I'm ready to escalate. A shift, ownership, right, is what a leaders put on. So the talk with a leadership tone, it says, what's the outcome that we are looking for and why it matters, right? They give the coaching to their team, and the key thing that a leader does is when he gives them the path, right? What are the key things that they need to look at? Then there is a clear way path for the team members to inculcate. So what I've seen is that, in delivering large programs, the ownership has improved considerably, right? Where I was not a solution, right? I gave them the team, the ownership for them to come up with the solution, and that made the difference. It's not controlling that has created the impact, but it's more of giving them the ownership. It's where, I could build a successful team. So what you're seeing that as a manager, we communicate the status, right? But the leaders do the different thing is they are more concerned about if there is a challenge, if there is an issue, instead of asking why it is red or when will you close or what's the recovery plan. The shift is what has changed and what are the trade-offs that we are making and what does the team need. So basically going towards that empathetic view and saying that I am with you and this is what we need to do or this is what we can do. So what practical experience has taught me is that whenever there was a change in the priority during the transformation, I always focused on why, right, rather than just giving them direction or telling them to do things. I always probe the team with a question of why. That made a difference when the outcomes were great. So coaching versus rescuing. The leaders are there to back up. So if you look at the key flow that happens when there are issues, right? A manager sees a problem and he tries to give an answer or he works for an answer and then work gets done, but dependency grows. But as a leader, as a coach, the key thing is ask the team as what do you see? What are the challenges? What is the option that we can look into? Which one can you choose as a team? And always be there at their back that I will support the decision. So that makes the difference. So the managers have authority, but leaders have the impact. Moving on, trust. A core principle of any leadership is the trust. What happens, if you're working with a manager mindset? It's not, the bad news travels late and people try to protect themselves, hide behind the wall and the decision gets escalated and innovation is something that slows down. But what happens when you are with the leadership mindset? Risk surface early. People ask for help, quite often, and then it's team which decides faster and learning accelerates. What I've seen across the high stake delivery is that when you are more transparent about risk, that's where, the people don't get into the blame game, but they come as a team, collaborate and succeed. And what's the transformational leadership, right? Transformation is rarely blocked by the process alone, it's blocked by uncertainty. So manager is the one who sets things that I need to set the deadlines and then track what's happening and then escalate often. But leader explains the purpose. He listens the concern. He is a person who creates the early wins and build advocates. Experience has taught me, right, in the agile and the digital transformation adoption, which has improved considerably, not just by what happened, but when the people were given that intent, why we are doing it made a difference. It has been seen that people rarely resist the change. They resist the change that they cannot understand or influence. And what changes on Monday, right? So a manager starts the day by telling, I need to do this, but a leader asks. So before giving direction, it's important to ask what the team sees. And then instead of tracking, it's more shift towards the trust. Instead of fixing the problem, it's coaching. Instead of escalating, it's empowering. Instead of measuring just the output, it's growth capability. How do you enable the team? So leadership is visible in the repeated behavior, not just an occasional speech. To close, a leadership legacy. a manager can make the team successful today, but a leader makes a team capable of succeeding without them tomorrow. So it's seen that a leader is the one who enables, the people under him to grow to that level. So that comes with clarity, ownership, trust, coaching, and above all, the courage. I close my speech with leadership is measured not only by what you deliver, but by what you enable in others. Thank you very much.
So Rajesh, your feedback about yourself.
Yeah, let me stop sharing. Okay, so overall, honestly, this preparation was for 30 to 40 minutes by the time I came from the office and tried to put in. I had thought about something while I was driving back, but I took this time to prepare and then deliver. I wanted to put some of the statistics, but I thought it's more important what you deliver. I mean, this was a bit easy for me because I've been doing day in and day out, and the thought process is always there. But I think this is just a start. So I think there are areas that I need to improve. Maybe I could have slowed down a bit, but I was trying to see if I can meet that timeline as well. But thanks.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, my hands gesture was not visible, or that's not sitting properly. I think hand gestures also makes a kind of impact, but was it too much or is too less? I don't know, because I was not seeing myself when I was just focusing on the slide. So maybe others get that feedback, right? I mean, presentation is more about, I mean, if you're in an audience and if you're seeing face to face, I'll be able to control, but I'm not seeing myself. So,
Yes.
Madam,
Who is planning to go next? I am looking forward to listening.
Okay, I will.
Let me.
Yeah, Neil, go ahead.
Okay, Neil, go
Okay,
ahead.
no, you can. Preeti ji, you can.
Neha, बोल दो.
Okay, it was wonderful. I mean, and I could not imagine that you made it in 30 minutes because, as you said, topic is close to your heart and you really um, reflected all your experience. So I would really request you please share that presentation in the group and also others also who presented. Please share so that we can learn from it as well. Yeah, again, coming back to Rajesh. So first you made me to realize that it's more of a focus difference between managers and leaders. Yeah, so that was really a point which clicked to me that what focus can make a difference. It was really a powerful statement. Every page of your presentation had a powerful statement, and it showed really um, very good experience. You have drafted on those pages, so it was not just some chat GPT prepared presentation.
I mean, I
So,
used ChatGPT, but I gave
yeah,
the
that's
uh,
okay.
what
But
I
it was
I just
really
want
a
to.
presentation made out of your experience. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So really
I'm
good.
just trying to share why this presentation has come like this, because every
Yeah.
time what I do is, basically to prepare that, Gitanjali madam had given
Uh,
assignment, right? So you draft about your journey. So I had all that in the chat GPT. So the prompt I gave is, with my, actually what I did was you know, um, I did a voice recording, like, what has been my journey. And then I gave it to ChatGPT and also asked it to recall from the earlier conversation. So maybe it has done that. But that's one of the thought I thought, to generate a PPT, just to say generate PPT versus giving your experience and telling that use this experience, because those lines is not what I wrote, right, at the below, but it took out from the experience that I had shared it, to ChatGPT earlier. So maybe it's good help.
It was
actually.
wonderful. Yeah. Thank you.
So who's going next?
Yeah. Hi, Rajesh. Looks like you had a meaningful Monday.
True.
So there are two things that I liked about your presentation. First one being it was crisp, right? It looked like I felt respectful. It looked like, there is a bunch of CXOs who's listening to you and you're presenting. It's like you're respecting the people who are listening to you. You don't have to explain so much. It's very crisp and very nice, right? Second thing, I always like the way you present. You're very confident, very cool, composed, right? I mean, at least I didn't go and look at you there because my focus was on the presentation. And every slide, like Neil said, had a punchline. So that was nice. Two things you could probably avoid. It's a closed group, it's just us. Is that first one? You said you're thinking about the presentation while driving, which is
Okay.
not very safe. Yeah, you had the weekend, you could have thought about it
And I
then.
was traveling, so I couldn't get a
Yeah.
time.
But then while you are driving, thinking is not a great idea. Secondly, you don't have to say that you did this in 30 or 40. It just looked like you worked and reworked and got something that is, real tight and crisp. So among that, it's fine. But when you're doing it somewhere else, it looks like you put in some effort. So it just gets diluted when you say, I just did it in 30 or 40.
No. Okay, my rehearsal was, I spent time on church, but the
Yeah.
rehearsal time was very less because I had to go through what I did, right? That time I didn't have. But yeah, my presentation, I made 3 or 4 revisions. But
It
yeah,
just discounts the effort that you
Right.
have put in. Yeah. Within our group, it's fine.
Yeah, it's family, so I wanted to share.
Yeah, that's fine. Nice. Thank you.
So who's left? Ravi? You're on mute.
Okay. So, first of all, Rajesh, a good job. First thing that I would like to highlight here is I see that you were punctual with the time, right? At the 15th minute, you finished up your presentation, which I see you
Oh,
might have
15
actually
minutes.
calculated or you have some
I
clock
was just
stopwatch
trying to
somewhere,
see
is it?
my mobile also. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's what I was looking at. You finished at right 15 minutes. And even I think you have also time bounded each slide because maybe in the middle, you rushed a little. Maybe I'm not sure, you had some clocks ticking
Yeah.
or something. Okay. But then it was overall a good exposure. You have given a good idea about what is the difference between a manager and a leader. It was a good stuff. Thanks.
Vikamji.
Hi, good evening. It was a really beautiful presentation. In a nutshell, you have presented all the facets of leadership and managerial capabilities and all. Only thing that I would like to point it here that if a manager has to manage some crisis or has to go through such situation, the leadership and the managerial styles, are they two different things or the manager can be a leader? There I got somewhere confused because somewhere you missed it or you didn't pick up that topic, I think.
Right. The key focus was, see, in the corporate world, you are either a project manager or a delivery manager or a senior program manager or whatever. But there is a difference, a subtle difference between how people operate with that mindset. So that's why I said it's a mindset shift. So a team leader is also a leader. A team leader is also a leader. Project manager is also a leader until and unless he wears that hat of that leadership. So no matter what role you play, it's a role, right? I am a scrum master. I am a senior delivery manager, but the shift is what is the mindset. So that's why I started my presentation with it's a mindset shift rather than the role itself, right? So a project manager can move towards a leadership role. There is no difference, but how he operates, he's just asking what is the status. Is that then it's a project manager, right? I want to share this report, project manager. What is the challenge? How can I help you? How can I help you to get out of the situation? How can we manage the escalation that's happening within the team? That's the manager. I mean, he's a project manager, but owning the leadership hat. So that's what I wanted to share because role is it's not binding a leader, right? There is one book, Leadership Without a Title. So you can be a leader without any title, right? So that's what I wanted to convey. Hope I answered the question or.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. That's great.
Okay, Kalyanji.
Okay, very smartly you picked up a topic, Rajesh, that should take it out of the park. Very intelligent, huh? Very intelligent.
All your guidance, sir.
Okay, very intelligently, huh? Okay, firstly, as you get full marks for having picked up that topic, okay? I mean, a lot of a thought process probably has gone into picking up that topic, number one. Okay, I think all of the comments are pretty much right up there. Yeah, what I would have liked to have been included in this presentation is examples and anecdotes.
Mhm.
Okay, the theory part of it is, is pretty good. Okay, the theory is probably the easier sort of, thing, right? But then if you put that into perspective with some sort of, either made up case studies or, something that we have seen, right? I don't know, in the form of, maybe Apple CEO, right? I mean, what made him a leader versus uh, who could have sort of, completely continued his professional career as a manager, right? It could either be in the tech world or in the sports world, right? So we've seen either it is be it either cricket or FIFA or any other sport. So what differentiates managers and all the teams have managers and leaders, both of them, right? And so that would have been sort of it would have added a little more weight to the presentation. And then the other input that you could probably also include is yeah, I mean, you probably touched upon it. So what are those traits that um, that professionals should start nurturing, right? So that the professionals should start nurturing, and and how do they sort of see? It is easy to say these are the differences between the managers and the leaders, but how do you create that path? How do you create that ecosystem when you are sort of confined with constraints, when you have um, a lot of factors which are not in your favor, right? So those traits,
Mm.
okay? Yeah. Okay, good, Rajesh. Fantastic stuff. Okay.
Rajesh, you got your topic for manager versus leader part 2 next Monday
Okay.
in Kalyan's suggestions.
Sure,
Makes
sure.
sense. Whatever is being said makes sense.
Sure, sure, sure.
Or,
No, I
or
wanted to put some of my
own
experiences.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, which is there in my book, but I didn't have that. I was trying to see.
You could have drawn from your book, from maybe some excerpts from your book, right? So yeah, that's powerful. So
So I was in a dilemma whether to use that or not use that, because I'm trying to give something
yeah.
which is more generic. But yeah, I think that will.
Yeah, so where do you draw that inspiration? Yeah, Gitanjali, last word to you, but before you go there, so this brings me to um, YouTube. I think why YouTube has become so famous, right? It seems there were probably few other platforms which came around that time, but then YouTube sort of became the most popular platform, right? So the one who was probably designing the YouTube platform, etc. So he talks about drawing inspiration from nature. So that curiosity, that observability, these are the traits that I was talking about. Being curious, being sort of, if you observe nature and then pick from nature, right? And maybe etc. So these are some of the things that differentiate, or that some of those things, I mean, you don't have to necessarily differentiate, but you have to cultivate, right? So that you can, whatever you talk about, bringing those outcomes, etc., will happen, right? So some interesting anecdote about YouTube, um, and I think we had, right? I mean, what were those other platforms? I think just before YouTube's time frame, right? Which
Neo.
ah, and there was actually one more. I think Picasa.
Picasso's images.
Images.
Picasa web is images.
No, there was one more. There was one more platform which was this I'm talking about.
TikTok.
Hmm?
TikTok.
Orkut.
Orkut is
Facebook equivalent.
social
right?
media
Orkut
platform.
Orkut was Facebook's
Google.
Yeah.
Right. But then I think there was some interesting anecdote as to why Orkut did not fly, right, and why Facebook did. So if you bring in those aspects, then the interest will be even more. Yeah. Sorry, Gitanjali ji, to you for final word, please go.
After Kalyanji, nobody can speak, okay? Because he gives everything. Complete gist of whatever, and Preeti ji and all of you have given wonderful feedback, but strong content, clear structure. Presentations were very good. Leadership experience would have made the presentation even more engaging and credible. I mean, if you use some examples, you could have added more depth. So one or two real world case studies, try to add that. How professionals can develop that leadership trait, right? And you could have built on the presentation. Okay, now part 2 is already decided by Preeti ji. So let's see what you do in the next one.
Next
You can
Monday,
focus
okay.
on leadership habits, practical frameworks. Yeah, next Monday is something that, okay, that is something that you will come back and tell
Let
us
him
how it
choose.
was.
Let him choose.
Yeah.
Maybe he has better.
No,
We'll be
they're
back
going to
on, okay, we'll be
Jaipur.
back on Sunday. Okay, Sunday night.
Yeah, so Monday they'll have enough to tell. Monday, I think it is over to
Oh yeah,
Rajesh
Monday
and
can
Kalyan
be
ji.
Monday and Tuesday can be wow.
Yeah. Monday and
Aankho dekhi.
Ravi won't give his day.
So Hemlata ma'am is having the
She is not well, so she told me to share the videos Well, that's what I'm doing. She's just having a bad cough and cold. And so when she comes back, she can't take leave from the office. Some important days are going on. So she comes back home and rests. That's okay. So I told her, don't worry, rest, come back fully.
Yeah, let
And
her
I'm
take
sharing the
care.
videos every day with her in the group also. That's why I'm sending it every day so that she can have a look. And we talk after whenever. Yeah,
Sisters chat.
sisters chat. No, we update everything. So I update everything. That's my task. Yeah. So are you all set for your travel, your preparation?